Welcome. I am Tracy Whiting, the Minority Program Coordinator at Gilda's Club. In celebration of Black History Month, we wanted to acknowledge those who have made a great impact right here in the Grand Rapids area. I would like to take the time to introduce you to the First Lady, Mrs. Jean McMurray, and to the late to the late Dr. Booker, Latrice Richardson. So thank you all for sharing and coming in to explain how your loved ones have impacted our community.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for thinking of them.
Yes.
To have them be a part of this.
So, would you like to introduce yourselves and things like that?
My name is Latrice Richardson. I'm Dr. RhaeAnn Booker, oldest niece, slash caregiver.
And I am Dr. E.G. McMurray. I am the wife of Bishop Dennis J. McMurray. 36 years we were married before he passed away. And so, that's how I got here to Gilda's Club. Yeah.
And so tell us how you get interested in Gilda's Club. What first brought you to our
My own journey. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And Sister Talbert, everybody know the wonderful Miss Talbert. She kind of took me under her wing and was like, "Well, I want you to come and meet the sisters," and the rest is history. Because all of the love just made me say, "I gotta be a part of that." So that's how I came into Gilda School.
Okay, thank you.
I same story, but probably about 15 years ago, our ministry, the Renaissance Church of God in Christ, we did an event here at Gilda's Club. And when I came in, I just did not like what I felt. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I understand why now, because the Lord knew that I was going to have to come back. And so when after my husband had passed away, and we don't, as a culture, we don't encourage therapy or group sessions or grief support, and I knew I needed support some kind of way. And of course the first thing popped in my head was Gilda's Club, and I have been here ever since. I love it. I love it here. I don't like the reason that I'm here, but the support, like you said, and the love and the encouragement that you get from Gilda's is second to none. So
yes, I agree. Totally, I got goosebumps. I totally agree.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to know, how did your person, Bishop McMurray and Dr. RhaeAnn Booker, impact the community? Could you tell us about their work?
I'll let you go first.
Well, Dr. Booker was the VP of Metro and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. For those who don't know, I'm gonna break it down from my point of view. DEI is very big because someone may be sick, for instance, and you walking through the door and it has a handle, and you're okay with it. But what about, for instance, my auntie? She could one time open the door and go through it, and it was fine. But what about when she couldn't? That impacted her life. And so the things that she needed to be accommodated needed to be accommodated. Or if you was a man or a woman, you're getting treated differently. No, we all need to be treated the same. So her work in the community is making sure everybody's needs was met, making sure everybody was seen as an individual, not by your culture, not by your color, not by your situation or circumstance. So she wanted to make sure that the importance of everybody was relevant.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's interesting that you describe her. What most of you might not know is that Dr. RhaeAnn and my husband were cousins, and so they both had the same mission, had the same idea. My husband was very, very careful in not just growing a church here in the city of Grand Rapids. His goal was to grow people. And so wherever he was needed, wherever he could reach into to be a part of that, to make sure that the needs of the people of the city of Grand Rapids were met, that's what he did. He served with Bethany Christian Services. He served with Priority Health. He served with Spectrum Health, and he was never afraid to kind of upset the apple cart.
Right. Yes, their job was very much so stepping up with your bold chest.
Exactly. Just making sure that if there was a disparity, Bishop McMurray was not afraid to, say it. He wasn't afraid of someone, okay, we're gonna do something to upset you because you've upset us. He wasn't concerned about that. He wanted the lives of the people of Grand Rapids to be impacted.
Yes.
And wherever God used him to impact the lives of the people, that's what he did. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
From a historical standpoint, with this being Black History Month, what were some barriers and obstacles that they had to overcome? And if you know, who were some of the vehicles to help them overcome those challenges?
I'm gonna let her go first.
I'm sorry, that was good. Go ahead, Latrice, go right ahead, knock yourself out. God uses whomever he can. And so for me to go through and name, certain people, we would have to do an entire show with just a list of names that God allowed Bishop McMurray to come in contact with. One of his prayers was that God would give him favor with people and institutions. And so wherever the favor was, it could have been something as simple as a gas station giving out gift cards. I remember one year, the Shell station on Kalamazoo, and what's that, Kalamazoo, and what's the side street right there? I can't think of the name. Right at the.
I can't even.
In Boston.
Oh,
we'll just say Boston. We'll just say Kalamazoo in the Boston Square area. He gave my husband just a stack of gas cards one year, and so we were able for Christmas to just give people gas or whatever. So wherever my husband was, if there was an opportunity for him to bless the people, during the pandemic, we gave away $2 million worth of food through the feeding program that they had. And so we did not allow the pandemic to scare us from blessing the people. So we took all the necessary precautions to do that. And so he, that was a part of his ministry. So wherever he could find favor, he made sure he shared it with the people or whatever. So yeah, I'll let you jump in, and if I think of something else, I'll jump back in.
Okay. Some of the barriers that I know that she broke that really stood out to me is like pre-college programs for minority people, making sure that minorities felt the same as anyone else. Like, we deserve an education. We deserve to be smart. We deserve to have these programs. We can't afford it, but we still deserve it. And making a way for the education to God, because it's out there. And she was very big on education. So just being successful, grooming yourself to be successful, being an African American, that was a very big barrier for her. To just strive no matter what. We're going to start young and try to build you up. She started the pre-college programs at Calvin College, the STEP program. So all of those barriers was getting just broken because she was opening up the doors, opening up the doors for the young African Americans in her inner city who didn't have a chance. So that was a very big barrier for me.
And it just sounds like they were able to overcome barriers just through their persistence and love for their community.
Yes.
It sounds like they both had a really big love for community.
Yes.
What do you think that ignited from?
I think for my husband, he was raised in Muskegon Heights, Michigan. Make sure I add the Muskegon Heights. Don't forget that. Bishop McMurray was raised in Muskegon Heights Public Schools. Muskegon Heights is a smaller town than Grand Rapids. And so that small town support mentality is what he built on. And just being able to help the community in the best way that he possibly could. That was the thing that he built from, was just being a part of a small town and not having a small town mentality. And so that's what he pushed just, you know, because you live in a small town, you don't have to have a small town mentality. As you talked about education, Bishop McMurray and I both graduates of Grand Valley State University, and we have given $60,000 in scholarships back to Grand Valley State for young people graduating from Ottawa Hills High School, because that's where our children were educated at Ottawa Hills High School. And so, and the thing that I love most about our scholarship, it starts at a 2.7 GPA.
Okay.
Because everybody can't reach that 3.0, 3.2, you know, but you only need a 2.0 to graduate. And so that's where he and I kind of, you know, met in the middle with the GPA, because it doesn't matter if if you're not one of the highest, you know, GPA students in the group, you're gonna walk across the same stage, you're gonna get the same diploma, and you know, you're gonna have the same advantages. And so that's, you know, another one of our things. Like I said, I could do an entire show about just his love for community and making sure that everyone in the community knows that they have a chance. So yeah.
Well, for me, you said what was the most proud regarding her work in the community. I would just say overall, it's so much I could say, because her job was so big, from the education to just, she worked at the colleges, she worked at the hospitals. It was so much diversity and so many things she did wrapped up in her job title. I think I was just proud of everything, just because we are all humans. It's not about our shape, color, size. It's not about our origin. All it is we all have a chance. And the door should be open for everyone. Even if you're handicapped, even if you're whatever it is, you are bigger than your circumstance. You can be educated, you can be just as important. And I just think that's a big impact in general. We can't focus on our outer, we just need to focus on what's on the inside and go for it. So I don't even know if I'm making sense, but I hope I am.
Well, it just sounds like you both were saying the same thing, that your loved ones was pushing to reduce those barriers. Everybody is not a good test taker, which matches your score.
Right.
Everybody doesn't fit into a certain category.
And it's okay.
And it's okay, but wanting to educate and provide services for minorities in the community. So that's really great and important. And all people. And all people.
Can I say this? And she was an advocate. She was an advocate to just stand up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. People called her for support all along her journey. And I think that will always impact the community, because they will always say, well, I was able to firsthand talk to this person and she gave me advice on what to do if I felt discriminated or what she was there to be a support. And support gets us a long way in this life. If you don't have support, even like Gilda's, it goes back to Gilda's Club. Support is like the biggest word of everything. Just being supported in general. And
validated.
Yeah, and validated. That's major.
I want to go off the path for just a second with my proudest moment with my husband. He was able to be a dynamic father to our 3 children. That's the one thing that I'm most proud of. Our oldest son, Paris McMurray, his wife Fallon, are now pastor and first lady. They're pastoring the church without malice, without anger. They're happy to be. They're not pleased with the outcome, but they're happy to be in that place to fill my husband's shoes. My daughter, Siobhan McMurray, she is a praise and worship leader, in the church and everything, doing her own thing in the community. I'll send a shout out, Praise in the Park this summer. Y'all keep an eye out for that with her. Our youngest son, Austin McMurray, and his wife, they live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he is the business side of my husband. And so each one of my children have been able to take their part of their dad and proudly share it with the community. And that's the thing that I'm most proud of, because that's not heard of with the, they call it PKs, with the preacher's kids, usually have a tumultuous relationship. But my husband, in the midst of everything that he did, in the midst of all of the work that he did, even in our denomination in the Church of God in Christ, he was elevated to bishop. He was able to maintain a wonderful relationship with his family. And that's what I'm most proud of.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm about to tear
okay.
up because
That's what we're here for.
I got a whole nother moment that I really have to tell everyone about. And I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. But back in September, between June and September, my Aunt RhaeAnn, she used to go to Davenport, and it's a award called the Diversity Impact Award. And she was like, I had third place, but I want first place. And I said, you gonna do it? She said, yeah, because Dr. Booker on the scene. So she had third place before at Davenport. Me and her worked on this, and the day after she retired due to her illness, they announced that she had got first place.
Oh.
And I was a part of that.
Yeah. Same with my husband.
Yeah.
He won Giant Among Giants in 2022. We had to watch it from, from his sick bed. But he was awarded the African American community honored him as a Giant Among Giants in 2022, and I appreciated that so much.
Yes.
So,
And just sort of going off course, I realized that both had illnesses. Your husband had a cancer diagnosis.
Glioblastoma, brain cancer.
And your aunt had
ALS Lou Gehrig's disease.
And she was a breast cancer survivor.
She had breast cancer many years ago, is when she actually started dealing with Gilda's club. But she survived that and was diagnosed 2 years ago with ALS.
And it takes a village to help process health and those that are experiences illnesses. And we're just so glad that you two felt that it was necessary to come and share the impact that your loved ones have made in this community.
Yes.
Do you? You said what was another one of the most proudest moments? And did your loved ones start anything that is still transcending right now?
She started on Strata at Calvin College. A lot of pre-college programs. She at the hospitals, I've seen her with the LGBT community, made sure that they have the proper health care and able to have advocates for them. It's so much I could go on and on, but just those minor things like the restrooms, people was making stuff about the signs. Just put a restroom. Don't have to have a gender. Just simple restroom. Make everybody just feel as one. So that made me proud, and I was very proud when she said, I never knew the little girl that I was babysitting on the front porch would be taking care of me now. And I'm thanking God. And I never knew you would be here, but I'm thanking God.
Yes.
The Renaissance Church of God in Christ will turn 32 years old.
Wow.
It will be 32 years the first Sunday in March that he and I were sent here, which was supposed to just be a 6-month assignment. And so here we are 32 years later, and Renaissance is still in existence. It's still making a mark in the community. It's still changing people's lives. And that's one of the reasons, that is the reason he chose the name Renaissance. It means a new birth, new spiritual awakening, a new start. He was 19 years old in a humanities class in junior college. They were studying the Renaissance period, and the Lord spoke to him then and said that would be a great reason and a great name for the church. And so Renaissance Church of God in Christ, that is his calling. Now, everything that he's put his hands into, people are still holding on to that. They're still, gravitating to that. He's, like I said, he's made so many changes in the hospital. I remember with Spectrum Health. He created a class, an etiquette class on how to deal with the Black family in the hospital. As you know, if Big Mom is sick, everybody, all of the grandchildren are at the hospital because she matriarch of the family. And so he started an etiquette class with that, so that the hospital staff would know how to deal with that, because everyone is not, you know, like our race where we all, the whole village just shows up, and that village needed to be treated with respect and dignity and honor. And so that's one of the things that he, you know, had his hands in. We commemoratively, the city allowed us to commemoratively rename 33rd Street Bishop Dennis McMurray Way. So his name will hang here in the city of Grand Rapids forever. So his work, as we say spiritually, his fruit will remain. And the Renaissance Church of God in Christ is alive, active, doing well, and still changing lives, just like he saw in his vision when he was 19 years old.
So what brought you all to Michigan, and was Dr. Booker raised in Michigan?
Yes, she was born and raised here. Everyone knows she's been on Delaware many years. Yes, she was raised here with her mother and father, with her siblings. And this is her story, but her family came from Baldwin, but this is where my grandmother raised them all.
They all settled in
they all settled. And yes, she does have a scholarship named after her, the Dr. RhaeAnn Booker Legacy Award. So scholarships will be continuing through Entrada to help others get scholarships.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and as I said, my husband, he was raised in Muskegon Heights, Michigan. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Go Tigers! We still won the Super Bowl. But so and he and I met at Grand Valley State University. Okay. So I came here from Detroit, attended Grand Valley State. Never knew why I went to Grand Valley State. I had so many other colleges on my list. Did not understand why Grand Valley State. And so that's where he and I met at Grand Valley State University. And so because of the way the organization Church of God in Christ is set up, once my husband accepted his call into the ministry, he became an ordained elder with the Church of God in Christ. And there was a church that needed an interim pastor here in Grand Rapids. And so we were sent to that particular church. And that was just a 6-month assignment. And but of course, it ended up where that church was dissolved. And then that's when the vision that God gave him at 19 was birthed. And that's when we became Renaissance Church of God in Christ, August 22nd, 1992. I can give you the dates and everything. And so that's how we ended up here in Grand Rapids. So once I came here for college, I never left. I never went back home. I stayed here. And the rest is history. The rest is history.
The community is so grateful for the impact that each one of your loved ones have imprinted here. And we will continue to look at what they have done and hopefully add on to what they have started, putting in the groundwork. We really appreciate that. Are there any final words?
Well, thank you, Miss Tracy, for inviting us to be here and just to talk about our loved ones. This is therapy within itself. I'm being encouraged and blessed as I'm sitting here at Gilda's Club, just talking about my husband and the impact that he has on the community, because his impact will never change. It will always remain. And I just thank you for just, choosing us to be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Latrice, any final words?
Y'all gonna have a good day. But if you don't you dare go messing up nobody else. In my Tabitha Brown voice.
I love it.
We're just so grateful to have had First Lady Jean McMurray here, and Latrice, Dr. Booker's niece here, and just continue to remember, when we think of Black history, it usually starts in our community.
Yes.
And these are them. Thank you so much for joining us,
Yes.
and we look forward to our next Facebook Live. Thank you.